everybody. Welcome to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Tilford, joined by Josh Brown.
Hello.
And Rachel Shackleton.
Hello.
Do you guys like some Capcom?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which era of Capcom we talking about,
The
brother?
last 2 months, mate.
Hell yeah, then.
They're back, mate. They've got a whole new era going on. It's a very good era to be in. So there's a lot of different opinion pieces going around on the interwebs talking about how it's okay to trust Capcom again. It's very good to see Capcom back again. And we're just going to run down the reasons for that viewpoint coming back into the fore, because we've been playing a lot of Capcom's new releases. And I think it's worth passing out just how well they've managed to return to form. It wasn't something that I don't know, what do you guys think of Capcom in general in terms of where they are right now? I didn't really realize they were back in so much as they've always been steadily there.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, before pre-2017, Capcom were just the Street Fighter company.
Right.
To me, I never really got particularly into them, but well, and Resident Evil, I suppose. But yeah, so until sort of recently, I was just sort of like, oh, they're all right.
They're just kind of there.
To me, they've always been kind of like hit and miss. They have these really down periods where they're putting DLC on the disc and they're making a lot of stupid decisions, and then they kind of like come back up with a peak and deliver a bunch of good games. You're like, oh, Capcom's really good, and then they go back down again when they release like Street Fighter 5, and then they come back up. So I never know where I stand with Capcom. I never know whether I'm like there to trust them and be championing them, or whether I'm like, oh, this is the Capcom of old, because they just seem to, I don't know, on a whim decide which version of themselves they want to be.
Well, it's like, Street Fighter and Resident Evil are two like totemic releases, two massive ass franchises. And yeah, I put together a couple of notes. Like Dead Rising 4 was in 2016, monumentally terrible sequel, kind of tried to reimagine its main character.
It was kind of fun.
Was it kind of fun?
Kind
though?
of fun in the same way Crackdown 3's kind of fun.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
But nothing spectacular.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, okay, fine. And they kind of undid a whole bunch of the reasons that people loved Frank West in the first place. 2016 also had Street Fighter 5, that's the thing that I think established them being this company that you can't can't trust, quote unquote. Because a lot of the handling of Street Fighter 5 was just, it was such a paltry release at launch, and then there was all the DLC stuff. And even now, like at the tail end of last year, it was like they're paying for all these different stickers and endorsement
The ads,
ads on the characters.
Hell?
And it was like, come on, man. Like, that seemed to be the way that they were going in terms of being way more money focused or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's also Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which broke little Jules' heart because he was looking forward to it for so long. But 2017 also saw Resident Evil 7, which is where you can kind of see the start of the goodness coming back in. So we might as well start with Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
General thoughts on Resi 7?
Well, here's the thing. I actually really enjoyed Resident Evil 7. I'm not going to say,
but everyone did.
Well, everyone really did, but obviously there's a section of the fan base who didn't like. Obviously, it was a huge reinvention for the franchise. You dropped most of the lore in most of the characters, and you adopt a new perspective.
Not Chris Redfield, man.
He's not really Chris Redfield, though, is he?
It is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it literally is
First
him.
name's, his first name's Chris and his surname's Redfield.
Just because the entire body of this man is the size of the last one's arm doesn't mean that it's not the man himself.
You know what I mean, though? It was different in tone and different in sort of like the characters and the perspective and the gameplay. But for me, that was awesome. That's exactly what it needed. It was sort of a Resident Evil 4-esque kick up the butt after Resident Evil 6 was just this bloated zombie husk.
Did you want to punch more boulders? And that was Resident Evil 5, hardcore fans, but still.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think, Rachel? Oh,
exactly. Like, so I've always kind of really liked horror games, but for some reason the Resi series sort of passed me by.
What?
I know. I just never I didn't have a PlayStation 1. I think that's where it originated.
Cool.
And then just never bothered with, as they came out throughout the years. And then got the chance to try 7. Might not have been something I would have picked up had I not had the chance to try it. Fell in love with it. The first 2 hours of that game are probably the most solid horror game I've ever played.
It's really good.
Yeah. Something can feel free to beat it. 2 probably beats it. But anyway.
We'll get to 2 very soon.
So good. Like, fell in love with it right away. Just loved the character. Loved being that character. Just really wanted to go and save my hot wife. And it was just
my life every day.
My hot wife.
It was a good time. My hot wife cut my hand off. It was a battle of laughs.
That bit, though, just to quickly drill down on a particular thing, that bit where you do just get your hand cut off, I did not see that coming.
It was so realistic, though. So realistic. They just get a staple gun, just staple it back on, and you're fine. You're fine.
It's fine. I think speaking to like how immaculate the opening of it is, like you have that whole thing where they're riffing on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you're sitting with the Baker family and it's all ridiculous and over the top.
And then they have the Blair Witch Project with the videotape that you find, and the guy's like standing in the corner.
And
then it just goes straight Evil Dead when Mia gets possessed and she's climbing up the stairs, and it's like, well, I love all of these influences. And I love Resident Evil.
And then at the end it goes full on Resident Evil again, where you fight big old blobby big bag man at the very end.
Ironically, the end is probably the weakest part.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, for me, Resident Evil 7, I kind of think of it as like it would be a perfect video game movie. I feel like it has like a nice build up. It's almost like Cabin in the Woods. You have this big build up to this big monster at the end, and I think that it would work for the 3-act structure and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, do you think that they'll continue with this for Resi 8, or because of Resident Evil 2, we'll end up going back to third person?
I have no idea because I actually did a list on this, and I don't know what they're going to do because I really enjoyed the Resident Evil 7 style, but Resident Evil 2 proves you can have the conventional mass appeal Resident Evil experience and still deliver a great and satisfying survival horror game. You know what I mean? You can have your cake and then eat it too. But I think it would be sort of a missed opportunity to not at least have one more game spin off on mainline series that does capitalize on the things they tried with Resi 7, because even though that game was great, it's the first time they tried a lot of those ideas, so it was very much a stepping stone for something else, and I want to see what that something else is before we just sort of have another game. Because let's face it, we're going to have Resident Evil Nemesis, right? That's going to scratch the itch of the Resi 2 style, so maybe there's space there for both to exist concurrently.
They can potentially move forward with both designs. I mean, like, we'll get to Resi 2 in a sec. I'm going to do these things chronologically, but
I'm patient.
I know it's good, but worth the wait. But Resident Evil 2, I mean, yeah, you have that sort of like puzzle based, like it's way more, I don't know, like more considerate. There was something about Resident Evil 7 that was you were always like pushing forward to the next thing, especially in the gunfire sequences towards the end. But yeah, if they want to kind of move forward with both sides of the Resident Evil coin, because have you played Resi 4? Did you play the one that initially annoyed a lot of people?
4 is the one that everyone keeps telling me to play.
Play 4, mate. It's really good.
I have it. I've watched my friend play through it.
It is. That was me agreeing with you.
Okay.
It's in a future list. Might be going on tonight.
Guys,
Don't know, carry
everyone
on.
keeps trying to sell this like literal like 20-hour escort mission game to me. I don't understand it. It must be good.
God, you make such a point. Yeah, those escort bits are bad. The Jack Krauser fight's bad.
Listen, it's
maybe
all
it's bad.
Good. It's not what?
What if Resident Evil 4 was actually bad?
Maybe it is. It's in. I've got it in the best games of the 2000s, which is something that's coming up. Oh, I don't know. It's either tonight or very soon.
Ooh,
and Resident Evil 4
subscribe.
is in there. But yes, you can keep up for certain things. But yeah, I mean, I think that with Resident Evil 7, I kind of thought of it initially as them getting in on the Slender Man, the Amnesia style, like, just first-person horror hype. But I did think they did it in a really cool way that still made it feel like Resi.
Yeah.
And stuff like the videotapes is like you can kind of jump into different levels and go back to
And
normal.
the puzzles that like you open the holes in the wall and stuff like that, it still felt like Resi, but for someone like me who hadn't, that was the first Resi I played was 7.
Right.
It felt enough like it for me to go, oh yeah, this kind of feels like what everyone talks about. And yeah, it felt new.
How much do you think, because if your first one was 7, did you get much of a feeling for the wider lore, like the Umbrella Corporation?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
All I knew about it was from watching Resident Evil the movie.
Right. Waiting for Mia Jovovich to turn up.
Obviously, there was this virus that had got about, but obviously with what's her name, the wee lass, it wasn't the
Wee little red dress lass.
Little evil
The little
ghetto.
girl?
Immediately.
Mia Jovovich? What do you mean?
No, not Mia Jovovich.
Anyway, 7 obviously wasn't part of the wider lore.
No, they sort of did like a weird like soft reboot type thing.
Yeah.
Brought Chris Redfield in at the end. But anyway, yes, we can move on to the next thing. So yeah, that was in 2017. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came after Resi 7, so it's not a straight shoot in terms of them getting back on the horse.
What is kind of fascinating to me with Marvel vs. Capcom is how much, I wonder, did Marvel have a say in what they did with that? Because I imagine they had a huge say over who was included on the roster.
Captain Marvel?
Exactly.
Put Captain Marvel on the thing?
Put everyone that we've got in upcoming movies into that game.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
then, X-Men.
I just see Jules reviewed it, and I forget now because it was a couple of years ago, and my memory doesn't go further past the last week.
That's
but I
fine.
don't remember what the object negatives were for Infinite. I remember it being something relating to the amount of characters was drastically toned down. It wasn't that there was too many of them.
Yeah.
It felt like it was like this threadbare package kind of thing. So maybe it was Marvel's interference, but either way, Infinite wasn't received very well, considering the caliber of the franchise. But yeah, so Resident Evil 7 was 2017, and then Monster Hunter World was 2018, which is where me and Rach get to do nice little backflips.
Gosh.
Potentially Josh as well.
Well, here's the thing, right? It is, according to Benjamin Richardson, I hope he hasn't fed me false information before coming in here, but Capcom's best-selling game of all time.
Which is weird considering Resi 7. But yeah, I mean, the Monster Hunter franchise has been humongous in the East for so long and never really fully caught on in the West until it was like put on PS4 kind of thing. But yeah, did you end up playing Monster Hunter? I know me and Rach have.
No.
What? You've not played it at all? Rage plays Resident Evil 4, you play Monster Hunter World.
Right, okay, that's
what the hell?
Everyone just says it's so good, and I just haven't got around to playing it. Last January, I think I was playing like Dead Rising 1.
Oh, stop it. What, you bought Far Cry 2 again, did you?
Well, it's because I don't have that everyone's been telling me for years, and I've been writing about it for years, about how Monster Hunter in general is this huge thing, and it is, and people bloody love it. But because I haven't had an entry point before World, and I know a lot of other people didn't, I need the push, like to play Yakuza or something, the same thing.
Oh, play all them as well, will you? Just go on.
That was why Monster Hunter World was so big, was so popular, it was a really good entry to the series because when I had 4 Ultimate, which was on the 3DS, it was really difficult to control. The tutorials were, oh my god, the first 10 hours are all tutorials. It's really hard to get into. It's so big. There's so much to know. Whereas with World, it's a lot better at sort of easing you into the game. It teaches you really slowly everything you can do. The multiplayer is fantastic. Like, there's a great sort of like mentor kind of feeling to it.
They let you drop into other people's
You really
quest
want
to
to go and help people because you get stuff out of it, obviously. There's something in it for you.
But they've always had like that core thing of like the bigger the creature, the you finally take it down, then you just use its skin or its teeth to make some new blade.
It's all about getting fashion, Josh.
And petting
You'd
the
love
pig.
it.
I know there's a pig in there.
Poogie is the best pig.
Do pet the pig, you can dress it up.
Yeah, you can put it in little pajamas, mate. It's a little pig in some pajamas is possibly one of the reasons you should play this more than the gameplay, but also it plays extremely well. But yeah, Monster Hunter World, I mean, I was going to say it's a return to form, but it's not. It's an establishment of form.
It's
for the
just
West.
a lot more friendly for a lot of people who have never tried it before. I think that was why it was so popular.
Yeah, and I think like it came at a perfect time where like people want like raid bosses and like to go up against big creatures kind of thing.
Multiplayer is in.
Yes, and it's like they've always had. I mean, what was the earliest Monster Hunter you played? Do you remember the old ones?
I had 4 Ultimate and then I had Generations. So.
Cool. Okay. So like, I remember how awkward the one on PS2 was, and it's like it's taken them this long to make it playable. Like the 3DS ones were like a nice refinement of that.
Oh, there was one on the Wii as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was
3 was
3
on
or
the
4 or something. But either way, though, like the core way that they've put the game together, like it prioritizes gameplay and fairness and just working as a team and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that what they've accomplished is it's just so worthwhile. It was almost my game of the year. Like,
I remember you and Jules. I don't think you were there when we were talking about it, Rich. Actually,
I wasn't invited.
Just before you came.
Got some raiding to do.
Yeah, I remember you two, especially in January of last year, just gushing over it.
Well, Jules is a rather large Monster Hunter fan as well, and so he was like freaking out at the time. And I remember when the code came in, and I was just living on it for like the first few days or however long it was. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you see yourself giving it a shot, like in terms of because it's such a big investment?
Well, that's the thing. That's genuinely the main reason I haven't given it a go, because it's a huge investment, and every game now is a huge investment.
Games as a service.
Games as a service, and I keep seeing it in the sale, so I do genuinely want to give it a go. I played bits of it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean. I'm not completely blind, but I need to just properly sit down with the series and appreciate it for what it is.
I would say you can totally play it solo as well. I'm guessing you probably played it multiplayer.
You can play it solo. I recently bought it on PC, which is probably another contribution as to why it's so popular now. It's on heckin' PC now.
That is a good point.
So I recently rebought it and I started again. So I've been catching up a lot by myself because my friends are like, "Oh, get to the high level stuff, come on!"
Oh, the high level play. Oh Lord, that's like its whole. Oh, I'm never gonna.
Josh totally knows what
it's a whole thing.
It gets very, very difficult. There is that sort of real addictive nature to it where you can spend like an hour on one quest and then someone fates 3 times and you're out. You have to try it again.
Yeah, or you spend 45 minutes getting an Anjanath down to enough health where it's bleeding and sweating and you're like, I'm about to catch it, and it just burrows into the ground.
That's already getting my anxiety going, Scott. I don't know if I...
Maybe you shouldn't play. Maybe it's bad.
You just get good and then it's fine.
How about this? Make a great good.
You make a great argument.
It's true. I mean, it works for Souls, so there is that. But yes, I would totally recommend that. The next one that I've got written down is Mega Man 11. Now, do we care about Mega Man?
Right.
I love Mega Man's soundtrack.
Good shout. Does Josh care about the Mega Man?
I like Mega Man's soundtrack.
Yeah. He's one of the best parts about the new Devil May Cry 5, which is a lot of good parts, but you can get the Mega Man gun in DMC 5. Only if you paid more for the deluxe edition, but still. But Mega Man 11, I'm not like down with the Mega Man community, but I know that Mega Man 11 was sort of like kind of referred to as like a nice little return to form. It's a nice, they've been doing right by the fans. And I played the demo, died a lot, standard Mega Man crack. Didn't get much further. But it is just worth pointing out that in the role that Capcom were on, they even did right by the Mega Man fandom and did Mega Man 11.
Yeah. Totally. I'm sure Mega Man 10 was a bit of a disappointment. And maybe I'm making that up, but I have a friend who's super into it and I'm sure he bangs on about it a lot.
Mega Man fans are insane. Like they're steeled to survive like nuclear apocalypse. Like just how do you get used to the level of difficulty in those games?
Oh, they are really
we play
hard,
Souls games like every day for breakfast, but still, it's a thing.
I got the what was the collection? Because I have
Mega
that
Man X collection.
on, I think I have.
Or did you get the original game collection?
Yes. I think
they're way harder.
I haven't even tried it because I've heard.
Does it animate well?
Well, I haven't even tried. I mean, I've got it, but so it's there for me to. I thought you were going to convince me. I was going to go home.
No, they're so hard. It makes you never want to play games again.
No, Josh, they're really good. You should try them. The soundtrack's amazing, and you'll feel like a boss.
Put that on YouTube and play anything else.
Sounds like you're going to ambush me here, Rich. You're going to tell me to get good now.
You have nothing to lose.
Get Mega.
Set my pride.
And your time and life. But yeah, I said whatever. Mega Man. I have the Mega Man X collection. I like my Mega Man X's. They're the ones I can actually get through a few levels on. But the original Mega Man
X was the one that people said was
get
crap.
in the bin. No, you need to see how well they animate because the old ones suck. I imagine at this point the Mega Man fandom's actually put a hit out on us, so we should probably
I think we might
move
be
on to
dead
something.
now.
So the next thing I've got down is like this year's stuff, which is Resident Evil 2's remake from earlier this year, which is where this initial "oh my god, Capcom, you're too kind to us" comes from. So general thoughts on Resi 2.
It's the
remake.
the best, and I
It
can't
is the
stop.
best,
I can't stop playing it. To be honest. It's so good. It made me get out my PlayStation Classic and play Resident Evil 1, and now I'm gonna go play the Resident Evil remake again. It's got me just. I want to
in a mood.
I want to hug Resident Evil, spoon it from behind. That's the mood.
I mean, it's not going to
to
like that, and it will kill you. But in the moment,
I like it.
pretty good.
It'll be worth it.
Do what you can.
Spooning a liquor, though.
Yeah, stop spooning the liquors just for a second. There's not as many of them in Resident Evil 2. But the way that they brought everything together was to sort of connote Resident Evil 4's. You got the whole over-shoulder gunplay from 4, 5, and 6. But with that sensibility from Resi 2, like the item placement, the idea that you can just... The level design is so perfect. Like, it was always great back in the day. Did you guys play the old PS1 ones that much?
I've played the first one quite a lot. I've played the second one a single time when I was little, and I didn't even finish it, and I've played Nemesis a couple times.
So for the Resident 2 remake, have you done both campaigns, like A and B and everything?
Yeah.
It like promotes replayability so much. I know that like Jules and Ben Roy spent so long you get like a machine gun, like a missile launcher if you like expert rank it over and over again.
Sounds about right.
And it's just like the general gameplay sensibilities are so you control them so well. So it's pretty good.
Well, that's it. When I completed Leon A first, and I jumped straight into Claire B, and when I was going through like just trying to run through it essentially, because I was like, I've done it before, it's just going to be the same thing again. And then I eventually, that's it. And then I eventually put it down for a couple of weeks. I got distracted by another game. I think it was Metro Exodus anyway. Then I came back to it, and then I was playing through it as Claire B, and then I realized, man, this is more than justifies a second playthrough.
Yes.
Everything felt as new and as satisfying as it did the first time around, and I want to go through it again.
Did you try the challenge DLC?
Yes.
Well, we did it on the stream,
we did,
which you can go check out. But have you tried the challenge DLC?
Resident Evil 2 for me was the game that I fell in love with and wasn't even going to buy because Kingdom Hearts 3 came out like 3 days later. But I played the demo, which again, demos, man, how good are demos? I'm so weak. If you let me try something and I love it, I'll insta buy it. Anyway,
it's almost like demos should be mandatory for every big release.
We should do more demos.
We really should.
Nintendo is on it, and Nintendo are doing more demos. Anyway, played it, loved it. I streamed the butts out of that game. I've got a 16-minute reel of me just screaming from that game.
I wonder in that game if you can shoot something's butt off. Because there's a lot of...
You can definitely shoot faces off.
Yeah. I'm going to go and have a bit go.
Yeah.
See if I can remove an arse.
Acid a butt off.
Yeah, probably.
It would melt.
Acid butts.
Melt it down to the bone. Anyway, you like this game.
You've definitely destroyed my train of thought.
Sorry, I just want to talk about the destruction of the bum.
Butts. Oh, destroying butts.
I just want to know if you
Mr.
can do
Tailford.
it.
God, this is a PG
I know.
podcast.
I just need to know.
Spooning liquors and what we do.
As long as you don't swear, it's still going to be on YouTube.
But no, it's an absolutely fantastic game. I've had people who are like, oh, wait until you meet Mr. X, but it did not compare to actually being there and meeting him and finally finding out what all the fuss was about. And it was just really, really good to get to play games like this where it was like, it still felt like what I imagine, obviously, I didn't play the original, felt like what the original must have felt like at the time, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
Which I love. So, like, I really hope that other companies follow suit.
Yes, I mean, it fits in nicely with the Crash remakes, the Spyro remakes, like all that kind of stuff. Because it perfectly makes you feel like those original games. Question though, if someone said, should I play Resident Evil 2, do you give them this one or do you give them the PS1 one?
This one.
I think this one.
I think you give them this one first.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say the same thing about Spyro and Crash. Well, Spyro would. Crash is no. But the Spyro is like...
Spyro remake's so good.
Yes, the Spyro remake is gorgeous. And Resident Evil 2, it's good for you because you're coming to it like fresh, but it does give you that same feeling of like isolation and struggle and survival.
Definitely, and the puzzle solving was amazing. I loved how it fitted in. Like, it did not feel realistic in the same way that 7 actually felt somewhat realistic.
I forget most of the puzzles in that. It was just like find a key, find a thing.
But 2 was wacky and wonderful and everything a video game should be.
2's video gamey as hell. Like, it's just sort of like, this underground passage is governed by 3 medallions and there's one in the top room.
Yeah,
so.
and by the way, there's a big swamp filled with big, icky, splotchy men.
You need to go through it because you need these chess pieces to unlock the sewer door. I don't know.
Why do they lock the door?
With the chess piece.
Yeah, 8 specific. Don't put the king next to the queen. You got to do it opposite the knight. Like, okay.
Oh God, I loved it.
It is. is.
I think there's
good.
enough in there as well to recommend it over the original, just because of how different they are. Not just obviously in visuals and kind of perspective, but in like the actual gameplay structure itself. Obviously, there are similarities, but the puzzles are kind of different.
Yeah.
The routes through the police station itself is kind of different. It has stairs now. Didn't have any stairs in the
Stairs
original.
are great.
Stairs are pretty good. I tell you what, as well, is they streamlined that crocodile fight for the entire populace except me, because I just kept getting killed by it over and over again. Everyone else is like, you just shoot it once and you're done. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all. Took me
Is
like
this
8 tries.
the boss that you
It's
do
bad.
after doing both runs?
No.
No, it's
Oh.
one of the beginning ones, and you get chased by a big thing.
Big alligator.
Big alligator.
I never found the alligator. I'm going to need to replay that. No.
He's a bit of a thing.
I've only
And
done
so-
one playthrough. My heart can only take too
So
much.
big lad comes at you and you run down the screen away from him, kind of like Crash. But it's like you're supposed to like dodge when he comes at you, and I just couldn't. And the hitbox on him is it did me in.
So that's new. They added that with the remake.
I was in the crocodile
okay.
fight was in the old one, but then they redid it. Alligator.
Amazing.
It's the
Sorry.
easiest boss of all time. I don't know.
No,
why
that's
you
not.
had it.
That's not remotely.
Scott.
That's not remotely true. But but it's definitely a thing. I remember coming in the next day and being like, "God, lads, that alligator," and you were like, "We've already finished. What are you talking about?" And it was just like, "Okay, then fine. I'll go back to the drawing board." So with all that stuff, the next game I've got down, which is the crowning achievement, or the most recent crowning achievement, is Devil May Cry 5. Which, being that it's out today and only I've played it, ask me stuff, both of you. I don't care.
Is Dante as handsome as the pictures that you keep sending me?
Yes, that is
Yeah,
all
you keep
in game.
sending me them as well.
He's such a piece. I'm just saying, man's a white-haired albino Prince
Hey,
piece, and I like him a lot.
Give me Nero over Dante.
No, it's Dante all the
Ooh.
way, mate. Dante is the lad. Even back in the day, it was always him. Oh, it's always Dante.
But he's
innit?
mucky. He needs a shower.
He does look very mucky, to be honest, which is a British term for a bit dirty, a little bit, and not even in a metaphorical way. He just looks like he needs a wash. Like he's got like he's always zooming on him a bit, especially towards the end of the game. There's just little like dirt marks, and he's been through a lot.
You don't really have time.
Fighting a lot of demons, isn't he? So there is that.
It's dirty work.
Yes, but I mean, what do you guys think of the Devil May Cry franchise? Did you check out the 2013 one or the older ones?
Well,
or none of them?
This is maybe blasphemous, but the only
Go
ones
on.
I played are 4 and DMC.
You're a horrible.
I'm going to beat you.
Go on then.
None.
Never played any.
Oh, reach
Thanks
me.
for overshadowing me.
I'm going to get to play it on Tuesday though, right?
Good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to trying
Yes,
it.
we're going to stream this. So me and Rich will be playing on Tuesday
Tuesday,
night. So come
if
check
you're
that
interested.
out. Because I can't believe you've not played it. This is one of the best ways to experience it.
I am someone though, I'm a sponge basically. So if someone is like really excited about a franchise, I'll be like, oh, give me some of that excitement. I will play it one day. So now that I've seen obviously how excited you guys all are about it, I am very interested.
It's pretty perfect. I mean, I'd still recommend our review, my review, whatever you want to call it, because I wrote that after I finished it twice, and then just sort of like gushed some thoughts down, and when here's the review. But I do think it's obviously one of the early contenders for Game of the Year alongside Resident Evil 2 Remake, and they just did everything right. It's like just sublime combat.
Well, I think one of the defining moments of our friendship, Scott, is the day we went out on a staff night out last week when Scott got his review copy, and weirdly enough, you sacrificed a night out to come with us, which I really appreciate. But I messaged you the next day like, oh, you're right, man, like, are you feeling a bit a bit rough from the night
a little
before?
bit of the wine.
And then you went, I've been up since 7:30 playing Devil May Cry.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been waiting for it for 11 years.
Yeah.
I loved it because we obviously had plans to go out. Scott got his review copy code through and he goes, guys, I've got the code. And we go, oh no, we were hoping you'd come out, Scott. And he's like, oh, I'm still coming out.
There's wine, and I'm gonna have that. But yeah, and then I had a bit of a night. I had a little bit of a sesh, and then the next morning I woke up completely fine. I was like, well, I can install Devil May Cry right now.
That is because the fuel, the Dante fuel, made you feel.
I was thinking of it the whole night. I was like, I can't get too drunk because I need to play this the next morning. And then playing it on the Saturday was one sitting. It was like installing at 7:30, wait for the mandatory things to install time, which always take forever, and then just playing one sitting until 7 that night, and then play again as soon as I finish the credits.
Good game then.
It's a perfect thing, but I wouldn't give it 5 stars. I'd give it 4.9. But check the review out for why.
What's interesting to me about this game and of course Resident Evil 2 is that they are kind of a dying breed. They are really like these polished, straightforward solo experiences like that are contained.
All right, Amy Hennig, Jesus Christ, go on.
But they are contained. You don't get games like this, like really now.
Yeah,
The games
true.
that aren't planned to be a sort of live service or even just like an expansive open world that you sink a lot of time
With a massive story
like a nice brisk 10-hour experience is why I'm not playing Monster Hunter Worlds. What I'm looking for. I don't have 50 hours.
No, I totally agree. We need more games like that for people who have 9-to-5 jobs.
The thing that I'm curious with, because DMC is not like a games as a service, but they do have recurrent spending methods. You can buy red orbs. If you die in like a mid-fight, you can revive by paying money to revive. It's kind of icky, hence why it's not a 5-star game. But things like that are in there. So it's like you do see some of that like corporate influence in that game. But though, like to your like overall point, like it is super old school. Like it feels structurally like an original Devil May Cry from the 2000s.
Yeah.
So it kind of works in that way too. It's like here's a level, here's the boss, here's the cutscene, here's the level, here's the boss, and like it's like very like you forget how like I don't know structural a lot of old games were. Like we're so used to stuff like God of War, Spidey, Red Dead or whatever being so seamless and being like it's one massive like it flows really well. Whereas like Devil May Cry is like here's your stat screen, you got an S rank, upgrade some stuff, go to the next level.
Yeah.
Wow,
like, super arcadey and like I like that. It's a nice breath of fresh air, and it kind of works even better because of the competition being so cinematically focused. But yeah, it's a beaut.
How much of like we're talking about Capcom today, obviously based off this and primarily Resident Evil 2. How much of this sort of resurgence of respect for the company is down to them catering to fans or whatever? Because we've had Devil May Cry 5, a hotly anticipated sequel after a reboot didn't really satisfy anyone, and people have been waiting for this game for ages. Even Resident Evil 2, whilst not on the same level, people have been like, it was announced a few years ago to huge acclaim.
Yeah.
It's a very it's underselling it to say that it's a safe bet because they changed so much, but like Resident Evil 2, people have been wanting like to see a return to like this franchise and the franchise's roots for a long time, and they seem to be catering to those fans that supported them at the time in a way that Resident Evil 6 or Dead Rising 4 didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think they've had their dark time. They've had like the bad headlines. They've had like they've started to realize that their fans were moving away from them. I mean, people don't talk about Dead Rising 4 in anything of like a positive respect, other than just saying, yeah, it's kind of fun. We shot some zombies, like whatever. But it's nothing compared to the like genuine love people have for the first two.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I mean, you talk about like remaking something and sticking true to the original. Like the Final Fantasy VII remake. Like as much as I adore Final Fantasy VII, the remake of that is like full on 15 third-person hack and slash combat and doesn't look like it's going to really scratch the same itch. Whereas with them, they spend time being like, okay, let's get the right balance between revisiting Resident Evil 2's characters and world, but with like 4 or 5's engine kind of thing. So I think they are doing right by the fans at the minute. It's weird because if I got all cynical and whatever about Devil May Cry 5, it does feel incredibly old school. Yeah. And I love that about it. But that's like a thing that like the market will dictate depending on whether or not they want cinematically focused games overall. What do you guys think? Do you think old school stuff has a place going forward?
I think it needs to have a place going forward.
Because Resident Evil 2 and DMC5 are both very old school.
Yeah, but then it sort of raises the question, like, you can only rely on like old school mentalities for a while before it just feels stale again, or it feels like you're cashing in on that nostalgia. You still sort of like need to like, I don't know, go to new places. But DMC5 especially, I haven't played it obviously, but you keep describing it as sort of this.
I bought 2 copies, mate. I'm going to buy another one.
You bought 2 copies.
I have.
This ultra polished sort of masters of their craft, just kind of like flexing and like being able to show off, and like that's great.
Yeah.
We don't really have people doing that all that much, especially as consistent as this.
No, not really. I mean, like at the minute, like you have like Ken Levine's kind of on hiatus. We're waiting to see what he's going to do next. Like Hideo Kojima's doing Death Stranding. Like Neil Druckmann, Bruce Straley, like they're kind of doing their own thing. Last of Us 2 is coming eventually. There's not that many auteurs that are rotating through right now.
Yeah.
So it's good to see like a veteran studio being like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What I love about these games, right, and this is why Capcom's dominated the headlines, I think, for this year, is like there have been so many games that have come out in the first not even 3 months of this year. We have had
Trials Rising.
More than ever. Well, we've had Trials Rising, we've had Anthem, we've had Far Cry, we've had Kingdom Hearts.
Do you remember Anthem though?
We've had Anthem, but that's exactly
what time that was.
That's exactly
It's
my
not
point.
that bad.
Listen,
It's not even still going.
that's exactly my point. No one's really talking about like these games that just came out. No one's talking about Far Cry. Well, Kingdom Hearts. No one's talking about Far Cry New Dawn.
Yes.
But people are still talking about Resident Evil 2, even though that was probably the first major game release of the year. People are still talking about that, and that's a real testament to what Capcom have pulled off, considering just how many games should have overshadowed it in any other year.
Well, I think like genuine quality, and you can always tell when a project has passion imbued into it, when the people who made it really care, hence my whole problem with Anthem. But that's the whole thing with Resident Evil 2, the remake, and Devil May Cry 5, is you can tell they wanted to make it, and they're having so much fun in DMC5's case with certain cutscenes and weapons and stuff. Do you think, Rach, that it'll make you go and try other stuff, like the older Resident Evils or the other Devil May Cries?
That's the thing, yeah. Possibly. It's, well, that and the fact that everyone's bullying me into playing 4.
Play 4, you can't leave the room until you do.
But, like, people will say, oh, play this game. But now that I have experienced it for myself and loved it, I'm much more likely, yes.
That's good, because I think that they are pulling from their old school roots, but doing it in a way that gets new people on board, and you're testing to that, which is
it's
great.
worked.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
So we will see how they go from here. I don't know what the next thing on their docket is other than the remake of Resident Evil 3.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we should have researched this before I came in.
We've researched things plenty. Go have a look on the channel. There's many news things. And the next thing that we kind of know is coming is the Resident Evil 3 remake. So we'll hope to see how that goes. But let us know what you think down in the comments below if you're watching us on the video side, or find us on social media if you're listening to any of the audio platforms. platforms. This has been the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. I've been your host, Scott Taylor, joined by Josh Brown.
Oh, I never know which way you're going to go. Thank you. Goodbye.
And Rachel Shackleton.
Thanks so much for listening.
I'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.